What's up, Legion? Welcome back. Force here with some more Guild Wars 2 coverage. Today it's going to be some Necromancer PvP, taking a look at a build that I used over the beta weekend that I feel to be very strong. The general premise of the build is to apply conditions to your opponent and then hit them hard with Feast of Corruption, which does more damage depending on the amount of conditions that your opponent has. Now, if you're new to Guild Wars 2, conditions are essentially debuffs. So think slows, bleeds, snares, poisons, stuff like that. Anything that you apply to your opponent that is bad for them is called a condition. I'm going to start off by taking a look at the general build, starting with the number 1, which is my basic attack. This alternates between applying poisons and bleeds on the target. So it applies a bleed and then a poison, and then it just keeps going like that. Number 2 ability is an AoE snare, an AoE slow, that also does a little bit of damage and does a bleed effect as well. The number 3 ability is Feast of Corruption, and again, the more debuffs, the more conditions on my opponent, the more damage it does. The number 4 ability is Reaper's Touch. This sends out a scythe that bounces between friends and foes. To enemies, it applies vulnerability. To friends, it applies swiftness, which is increased movement speed. And then the number 5 ability there, Spinal Shivers. This inflicts chill and vulnerability on a foe. So it slows them and also makes them vulnerable. Alright, so we're going to have our first bit of combat here against actual opponents. You can see me focusing down at this guy right here, applying tons of conditions, and then I feast and I switch forms. And I'll be talking about that alternate form as well. Now this guy does unfortunately end up getting away from me, but fret not. I'm actually going to chase him down there and apply some more conditions. Yes. Notice that green bar above the left side of my skill bar? That is life force that I'm stealing from enemies. Now when opponents die, or when I use certain abilities, I gain life force, and that lets me switch into an alternative form using my F1 ability, which is Death Shroud. You've seen me hop into it a couple times here. This is really cool. This is my, I guess I'll call my ultimate, my number 0 ability called Plague. This turns me into a cloud of death, applying conditions to enemies that are around me. So you can see me just running around and I'm hitting people with poison, and you can apply, I believe you can apply bleeds to them as well. There's a whole new skill bar that comes with that. 1 through 3 changed when I was in that Plague form. We're going to chase this guy down here for what's pretty much an easy kill. Apply my conditions and hit them hard. And there you go. I don't even think I got the killing blow there, but it doesn't matter. On a roll so far. Alright, going to move up back top. Now let's talk about the other abilities, number 6 through 0. The number 6 ability is a heal in Guild Wars 2. Everyone has a heal, which is their number 6 ability. My particular heal actually also removes conditions. I feel this to be pretty essential for any necromancers who are PvPing. You can understand why. I mean, the removal of conditions on yourself is vital. You're going to stop yourself from dying out from bleeds, get rid of slows and stuff that are on you. So pretty important to get that. And you just actually saw me use my number 8 ability, which fills up my opponent with conditions there. And there's a switch of the form. So the number 8 ability, I'll talk about the number 8 and 9. Number 8 is Signet of Spite. Passively, this increases power. So while it's just sitting there, it increases power. However, I can activate it, I can use it, excuse me. I can activate it, I can use it to inflict my opponent with the following: a bleed, blind, cripple, poison, and vulnerability. It's unbelievable. That is, for this build, that's an amazing signet to have. You fill them up with conditions, allowing your feast to do a ton of damage. The number 9 ability, also that I feel to be pretty much essential for any PvP necromancers, is Signet of Locust. For the first thing, which is its passive that increases your movement speed. That is huge. That is huge in any competitive, PvP environment. Movement speed helps so much, chasing people down, getting away from people, all these things are really important. So anything that'll passively increase your movement speed is almost a must, really, unless you've got some really good skill otherwise that maybe has a short cooldown or something. Some sort of teleport or sprint or anything like that. A little bit of engagement here, just running around, applying conditions, and then feasting. That is what I do. The number 7 ability that you see currently on cooldown, this applies an AoE debuff at the sacrifice of a little bit of vulnerability. Like, I make myself more vulnerable, but I apply an AoE debuff that applies a few conditions. It's got a pretty massive area as well. So again, I picked it because it's more conditions. It's more conditions to apply to my opponents. This guy's trying to run away. I throw down a chill. let the rest of my team catch up to him, and I think we should get him right there. Yeah, there we go. Again, didn't get the killing blow, but not a big deal. This was a very, very good game for me overall. I think I actually got top player, so it is fine. It is a-okay. All right, now I think the only thing that I haven't really gone in depth about, we talked about number 6, which is my heal and remove condition. 7, 8, and 9 we discussed. The number 0 ability, again, that is the plague, which allows me to turn into this cloud of death that does AoE condition applying to my 2 opponents that are in my vicinity. So the real thing that I haven't gone into too much, and I think the coolest thing about the Necromancer and my favorite thing about this profession is Death Shroud. So again, that life force bar, that green bar on the left-hand side of my skill bar, allows me to switch into this alternative form, and it's a second health bar, basically. So I kill things or I use certain abilities, and the life force bar fills up. At any point that I hit F1 to activate Death Shroud, I switch into an alternative form that gives me 4 abilities. The number 1 ability does damage. It does more damage depending on how much life force you have. So that if you're full of life force, the second that you activate Death Shroud, hitting a couple times with your number 1 ability is going to do a lot of damage. The number 2 ability doesn't hit really hard, but if it hits the opponent and it doesn't miss them, you teleport to them and you apply a chill to all enemies around him. So again, you can kind of put yourself into a group and apply a chill effect to everyone there. The greatest thing though is the number 3 ability and the number 4 ability. The number 3 ability is a fear. It's called Doom, and it makes your opponent flee in fear. They lose control. They lose control of their character. So, you know, I fill up my opponent with conditions. I get them pretty low. Usually if I get them to about 25% health, I'll switch forms. I'll go to Death Shroud. I will fear them with Doom, and then I'll finish them off. It's usually pretty easy at that point. They usually, you know, in their fear, typically I can kill them. Now the number 4 ability, it's pretty cool. It pulls life force from my opponents. The more opponents that are around me, the more life force it pulls. And that actually allows me to stay in that form longer. It allows me to stay with Death Shroud active longer. Awesome class, lots of fun. I think this build is phenomenal, and this is probably what I'm going to start off PvPing with once Guild Wars 2 comes out. So you're going to notice here, I throw down the fear on him. I did it right away though, because I was a little bit actually worried that I wasn't sure what he was going to do to me if he had all of his cooldowns and was about to unload, so I just felt like getting away from him, basically. And then just chill out in the back. This is using the Scepter, and the Focus is, I believe, the longest range that you can play as a Necromancer, which of course means that you keep yourself safe by being away from people. If people get up on you, you can switch forms in fear. You see I just did it again there. Plus with the speed boost signet, it allows you to get away. Switching into the cloud if you get surrounded. Switching to plague specifically. Now you're gonna see so you can see I just activated my second health bar by switching into Death Shroud form, which allowed me to stay away from him a little bit longer and bought myself time to heal up again, which is what I just did here. Now he ends up catching up to me here, and he does end up knocking me down. We end up getting the kill though, because I pull life force from him, I fear him again, and then we end up killing him before he takes me out while I'm down. But you can see, even though I ended up getting down here, you can see the potential with that second health bar with Death Shroud and switching from using your normal health bar to using the life force that you've accumulated. It buys yourself time to re-heal, it buys yourself, I mean, it's a second freaking health bar. It's so awesome, it's so Awesome. And it's probably the primary reason that I'm like in love with the Necromancer profession, class. It's great. It is really great. I think this build's phenomenal. The little bit of PvP that I did very, very well in. This game is probably, I think this was my second game PvPing as Necromancer. I end up taking top player. You're gonna notice the little award right there on the right. So just goes to show you a pretty strong build. And yeah, really excited for this game. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this video. Took a little bit away from it. You PvPing Necromancers out there, come release a Guild Wars 2, we'll just see how strong this build really is. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, if you like the content, please subscribe. Oh yeah, I'm calling everyone Legion now. I think that's hilarious. Take it easy, Legion. Keep watching and keep owning.